it save the Congo? The election in the Democratic Republic of Congo is about more than leadership. Millions of people have died. Thousands are still dying. Will a wretched country recover?
Hello and welcome. The Democratic Republic of Congo is setting records these days. It has the world's largest peacekeeping force. It's holding the largest election ever organized by the UN. But it doesn't have nearly enough food, or clean water, or healthcare, or roads, or railways. And it's only just emerging from a civil war that drew in the armies of at least 5 other nations. The election in Congo matters to 60 million of its own people and millions more across Central Africa, more than most elections ever do. It began with more than 30 candidates, and now it's down to just 2, the president and a rebel leader who became vice president in an effort to keep the peace. And yet Monday, there was fighting in the capital again. On our program today, a step towards somewhere in the Congo. We begin with CNN's Jeff Kwenenge.
In the end, he missed an outright majority by a little more than 5 percentage points. Now former Army Major General Joseph Kabila will have to go back into the political battlefield once again. He'll be facing this man, millionaire businessman Jean-Pierre Bemba, a former rebel leader and undisputed rebel rouser who garnered just 20% of the vote compared to Kabila's 44.8%. Kabila, who was thrust into power after his father's assassination more than 5 years ago, insists there's still much work to be done in the Congo, and he'd like to finish what he started.
There are a number of things that have still to be done, quite a number of things. We're talking of reunification, which is a reality, but peace and stability are still a long way away. So we want to make it such that peace and stability become also a reality, especially in the east, the eastern parts of the country. So that is one of the major reasons, in fact, why I'd like to continue over those next 5 years.
His challenger also wants nothing more than the ultimate prize, insisting the country deserves better cards than the ones it's been dealt.
I really believe that Congo deserves more than what he is today. I really believe that we can, with Congo, do more than he's doing today in all different sectors: economy, justice, politics, reconstruction, agriculture, health, education. That is really, for me, the main reason why I believe that being to that position, I'm not fighting for the title, I'm fighting for the tool to enable Congo to be transformed.
Africa experts like John Stremlow of the Carter Center say the runoff in October carries with it plenty of risk.
Worst cases predominate in the Congo. After all, it has been abused badly by foreigners and by local politicians who have been too selfish. It's time to let the Congolese people have their say, and the problem will be if the losers are bad losers and the winner is not magnanimous.
In its 50 years as an independent state, Congo has seen plenty of big man politics and absolutely no power sharing. This election was meant to break that vicious cycle. Not everyone is optimistic it will.
I think there's going to be a danger from now on forward of the tendency of warlordism to re-emerge and for the tough bargaining to turn perhaps violent as a show of force. There'll be testing, which is why we have to remain vigilant and why the United Nations forces have to stay here.
The United Nations estimates an average of 1,200 people die every day in the Congo from war-related incidents, despite a ceasefire among warring factions more than 3 years ago. The UN has its largest peacekeeping mission in the world in the Congo, more than 17,000, backed up by a further 2,000 European Union troops. The UN's top diplomat in the region is quick to outline the importance of Congo getting its house in order.
Now, this is clearly the heart of Africa. It touches North, West, East, and Southern Africa. And if the Congo goes right, it's the one situation that will help all of Africa. It can change the face of Africa and the image of Africa.
The international community has invested in this election with time, money, and people, but it's placed all its chips on one outcome.
These elections are going to cost just over $500 million. Now that's a lot of money, but it is not a lot of money in terms of the cost of war. There's no turning back, and I can tell you, for the international community, there is no plan B. This is it.
The alternative is too awful to contemplate. A failed state where millions more die as another generation of big men squabble for turf and wealth.
Congo's broken badly, and it compares to Liberia, only it's 100 times as big, and it compares to Sierra Leone, and similarly there has been no challenge to the international community, to the United Nations on the scale of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. We all had a hand in its problems. We have to have a hand in its solutions.
Just as it's richly endowed with dozens of minerals and metals, gold, diamonds, copper, cobalt, zinc, so Congo is also home to dozens of ethnic and political rivalries. Rivalries that'll have to be contained when this election is over, if the country's natural potential is to be unleashed.
Since he prepared that report, Jeff Koinange has now returned to Johannesburg, and there are reports of gunfire in the capital of the Congo, Kinshasa, and that senior diplomats in the Congolese capital are said to be trapped. Among them, the American former ambassador, now UN Special Envoy, who Jeff interviewed in that report, William Lacey Swing. Jeff Koinange joins us now with the latest he's been able to gather from his monitoring post. What are you hearing?
Well, Jonathan, here's a sequence of events. Basically, before the election results late Monday, there was an altercation between Kabila's bodyguards and Jean-Pierre Bemba's bodyguards. Gunfire ensued. Several people were killed. In fact, as of early this morning, there's still bodies in the streets. Then late this evening, elite forces belonging to Kabila went to Jean-Pierre Bemba's home to try and disarm them. This is when a heavy gunfire erupted in the streets of the capital in that exclusive neighborhood, and foreign diplomats had actually gone to discuss with Bemba the way forward, and they may have been caught in this altercation. We don't have any reports of any injuries right now, but the United Nations has confirmed that they've sent a contingent of troops to this exclusive neighborhood in Kinshasa to try and rescue the foreign diplomats. Jonathan, looks like, no doubt, the election period, which was very calm, may have just been that, the calm before the proverbial storm.
Was the result, though, the runoff between Bemba and Kabila, a surprise?
You know, it depends on who you ask. There are a lot of people who say, how could Kabila have miscalculated and not gotten alliances with some of the opposition candidates in order to guarantee that 50%? But then other experts say, well, if he had gotten more than 50%, then a lot of people would have been saying he may have rigged this election. So it's a good thing in that it's a good step for democracy. A lot of people are hailing this, saying, okay, it's going to go to a second round. Now, if he does win this second round, it'll be seen as more legitimate and more people will accept him. Because you have to remember, especially in the capital, Kinshasa, Kabila is very unpopular. A lot of people view him as a foreigner. The fact that he was born in the eastern part of the country, spent most of his life in neighboring Tanzania, hardly speaks the local language, Lingala. A lot of Kinshasa people view him as a foreigner. If he goes on to win the second round, they will see this as more legitimate.
Jeff Koinange, thanks very much. We're going to take a break, but before we do, a moment to get back to basics. There are two countries named Congo, and among us foreigners, some embarrassingly frequent confusion between them. The Democratic Republic of Congo, long known as Zaire, was a Belgian colony. Its capital, as we've mentioned, is Kinshasa. To its immediate west, though, the much smaller Republic of Congo, a former French colony, sometimes known by the name of its capital, Congo-Brazzaville. We take that break now. When we come back, more on what the people of the Democratic Republic of Congo hope and fear from this vote. Stay with us.